My fiancé's mother smiled and said, "We expect certain compromises from you." Her father watched my reaction closely. I didn't hesitate. Understood. I stepped outside and made one quiet call. When I came back, the conversation had stopped, and no one would meet my eyes. I'm 35, and I thought I'd found the person I'd spend my life with. My fiancée and I had been together for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. She came from wealth, the kind where you don't talk about money because it's just always there. I didn't come from that world. My parents were middle class, worked hard, gave me a good life, but nothing extravagant. I'd built my career on my own, done well for myself, but I wasn't in her family's league financially. That had never been an issue between us. Or so I thought. The dinner invitation came 2 weeks before the wedding. Her parents wanted to have one final conversation before the big day. My fiancé said it was normal, just her parents wanting to make sure everything was settled. I didn't think much of it. We arrived at their house at 7 on a Saturday evening. Massive place, the kind with a circular driveway and more rooms than any family needs. Her mother answered the door in a designer dress that probably cost more than my car payment. Her father was in the study, waiting. Come in," her mother said, all smiles. "We're so glad you could make it." My fiancée squeezed my hand as we walked in. She seemed nervous, which should have been my first clue. We sat in the formal living room, the kind of room that looks like a museum where you're afraid to touch anything. Her father poured drinks, expensive whiskey I couldn't pronounce, and we made small talk for about 10 minutes. Weather, wedding plans, honeymoon details. Then her mother set down her glass and folded her hands in her lap. "We wanted to have this conversation before the wedding," she said, "to make sure we're all on the same page about expectations." "Okay," I said. "Our family has certain standards, certain ways of doing things, and when you marry into this family, there are adjustments that will need to be made." My fiancée was looking at her hands, not at me, not at her parents, just her hands. "What kind of adjustments?" I asked. Her father leaned forward. "Financial decisions will need to be discussed with us. Major purchases, investments, that sort of thing. We've been managing the family's wealth for generations. We know what we're doing." "You want oversight of our finances?" "We want input," her mother corrected. "We're not trying to control you. We just want to make sure our daughter is taken care of, that decisions are made wisely. She's an adult. We're both adults. We can make our own financial decisions." Her father smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You're also marrying into a family with considerable assets. Assets that will eventually pass down to our daughter. We need to know those assets will be protected." "Protected from what? From me?" "From poor decisions," her mother said smoothly. "We're not questioning your character. We're simply being practical." I looked at my fiancée. She still wasn't looking at me. "What else?" I asked. "Pardon?" "You said certain adjustments, plural. What else?" Her mother and father exchanged a look, some silent communication I wasn't part of. "We expect you to maintain a certain lifestyle," her father said. "Appropriate social circles, appropriate venues, appropriate presentation. You want me to change how I live. We want you to live in a way that reflects well on the family. Is that so unreasonable? And if I don't?" Another exchange of looks. Her mother's smile tightened. "Then we'll have to reconsider certain arrangements," she said. "The trust fund we'd planned to give our daughter as a wedding gift, the house we'd planned to help you purchase, the connections that could benefit your career. We're generous people, but generosity requires cooperation." I felt something cold settle in my stomach. "You're bribing me." "We're offering support," her father said. "Conditional support. That's how the world works." I looked at my fiancée again. She'd gone pale. "Did you know about this?" I asked her. She finally looked up. "They mentioned they wanted to talk to us. I didn't know exactly what they were going to say." "But you knew it would be something like this." I knew they had concerns. Her mother smiled and said, "We expect certain compromises from you. Nothing unreasonable. Just an understanding that you're joining our family and our family has standards. We need to know you're willing to meet those standards." Her father watched my reaction closely, waiting to see if I'd push back or fold. I didn't hesitate. Understood. Her mother looked relieved. Her father relaxed back into his chair. My fiancée exhaled like she'd been holding her breath. "I'm glad we could have this conversation," her mother said. "I knew you'd be reasonable. I need to make a call," I said, standing up. "Work thing. It'll just take a minute." "Of course," her father said. "Take your time." I stepped outside onto their massive porch, pulled out my phone, made one quiet call. It lasted about 3 minutes. When I came back inside, I sat down and picked up my drink like nothing had happened. But something had changed in the room. The conversation had stopped. Her mother was staring at me. Her father's expression had gone carefully neutral. My fiancée looked confused. "Everything okay?" she asked. "Fine," I said. "Just had to handle something." Her father cleared his throat. "What kind of work call?" "Just coordinating with someone. Nothing urgent." "Who did you call?" her mother asked. Her tone had shifted, less warm, more suspicious. "A friend. Why?" "What kind of friend?" I took a sip of whiskey. "The kind who happens to be a journalist. We went to college together. She's been looking for a good story about wealth, family dynamics, and how old money maintains control. I thought tonight's conversation would interest her." The silence was deafening. My fiancé's face went white. "You didn't." "I did. I recorded the whole conversation on my phone. Just sent her the file. She's very excited about it. Says it's exactly the kind of thing her publication loves. Real insight into how wealthy families manipulate and control." Her father stood up. "You're bluffing." "Am I?" "Call her if you want. I'll give you the number, or just wait a few days and see what gets published." "You can't do this," her mother said. Her voice had gone sharp. "We'll sue." "For what?" "I didn't sign any NDA. This conversation wasn't privileged. You invited me into your home and made demands. I documented it. That's not illegal. You recorded us without consent. Actually, in this state, only one party needs to consent to recording. That party was me. So yes, it's completely legal. My journalist friend confirmed that before I sent the file." Her father's face had gone red. "If you publish that recording, I'll destroy you. I'll make sure you never work again. You'll what? Use your wealth and connections to ruin me? Please do. That'll make an even better follow-up article. Wealthy family retaliates against son-in-law who exposed their manipulation. The optics are terrible for you. Great for me." My fiancée was crying now. "Why would you do this? Why would you humiliate my family?" "I didn't humiliate them. They humiliated themselves. I just documented it." "But we could have talked about this. We could have figured something out." "Could we?" "Because you sat here and let them make demands. Let them treat me like I'm something they're purchasing. You didn't say a word in my defense." "I was trying to keep the peace. By sacrificing me, by letting them dictate how we'll live our lives. That's not a marriage. That's indentured servitude." Her mother had recovered some composure. "What do you want? Money? We can pay you to kill the story." "I don't want your money, that's the whole point." "Then what?" "I want you to understand that you can't buy people. You can't control them. And when you try, there are consequences." Her father sat back down, looking older suddenly. "The wedding is in 2 weeks. I know. You'd really do this? Destroy your relationship with our daughter? Humiliate her family publicly?" I looked at my fiancée. She was still crying, mascara running, hands shaking. "I'd really do this," I said, "unless things change." Update 1. The next 3 hours were intense. Her parents went through the full spectrum of emotions: anger, denial, bargaining, more anger. Her mother threatened legal action 4 more times. Her father tried intimidation, then switched to appealing to my better nature. My fiancée mostly cried. Around midnight, we reached an agreement. I'd delete the recording and contact my journalist friend to kill the story. In exchange, they'd back off completely. No financial oversight, no lifestyle demands, no conditional gifts. We'd live our lives however we wanted, and they'd respect that. "How do we know you'll actually delete it?" her father asked. "You don't. You'll have to trust me. Same way I'll have to trust that you won't revert back to this controlling behavior the moment the wedding is over." "That's not a fair trade," her mother said. "Life's not fair. You taught me that tonight." We left around 1 in the morning. My fiancée didn't speak to me the entire drive home. When we got to her apartment, we'd been living separately until the wedding, she finally turned to me. "I can't believe you did that. I can't believe you let them talk to me that way. They're my parents, and I'm supposed to be your partner, but you sat there and let them treat me like an employee they were hiring. They were just being protective. They were being controlling. There's a difference. You humiliated them. You threatened to expose them publicly. I defended myself. That's what you should have done. Defended us." She got out of the car without another word, went inside and locked the door. I drove home feeling numb. Update 2. The next few days were tense. My fiancée texted me saying she needed space to think. Her mother called me twice, both times demanding to know if I'd actually deleted the recording. I ignored both calls. I did delete the recording, and I called my journalist friend and told her the story was off. She was disappointed, but understood. "For what it's worth," she said, "you had every right to publish it. That was some seriously messed up family dynamics." "I know, but I don't want to start a marriage by destroying my in-laws, even if they deserve it." "You're more forgiving than I would be." "I'm not forgiving anything. I'm just choosing my battles." 4 days before the wedding, my fiancée finally called. "Can we meet?" "Sure. Where?" "That coffee shop we went to on our first date." I met her there an hour later. She looked exhausted, like she hadn't been sleeping. "My parents are furious," she said. I figured. "They want me to call off the wedding." "Are you going to?" She looked at her coffee. "I don't know. Part of me thinks I should. What you did was what?" "Extreme. Manipulative. You recorded a private conversation and threatened to publish it. They made demands and threatened to withhold financial support if I didn't comply. Which one of those sounds more manipulative?" "They're my parents. They've always been like this. I've learned to navigate it. By giving in to everything they want? By choosing my battles. And I'm not worth battling for?" She flinched. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? They literally told me they expect me to change who I am, how I live, what decisions I make, and you sat there quietly and let it happen. The only reason they backed off is because I forced them to, not because you stood up for me, because I stood up for myself. I was trying to keep the peace. There is no peace with people like that. There's only surrender or resistance. You were choosing surrender. I chose resistance." She started crying again. "I don't know if I can marry someone who would do something like that to my family. And I don't know if I can marry someone who would let her family treat me like that. So I guess we both have decisions to make." Update 3. She called off the wedding the next day, sent out messages to all the guests, canceled the venue, returned gifts. It was over. Her parents were relieved, according to mutual friends. They'd never wanted her to marry me anyway. Thought I was beneath their standards. The whole situation just confirmed their concerns. I don't know what I was. Sad, angry, relieved in a weird way, like I dodged a bullet but still got grazed. About a week after the cancellation, her father called me. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "I want to talk," he said. "In person. Just you and me." "Why?" "Because I think I owe you an apology." That surprised me enough that I agreed. We met at a restaurant downtown, neutral territory. He looked uncomfortable when I sat down. like he wasn't used to being on the back foot. "I've been thinking about what happened," he said. "About what we said to you, what we demanded. And you were right to push back. We were out of line." I waited. Didn't make it easy for him. My wife and I have always been protective of our daughter. Maybe too protective. We've always worried that someone would try to take advantage of her, of our family's wealth. We've seen it happen with friends, with relatives. So we built up these defenses by trying to control who she marries and how they live. Yes, and I see now how that looks, how that feels. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you only realized it was wrong after I threatened to expose you. Not before. Not during that conversation when you were making your demands. He nodded slowly. You're right. I probably wouldn't have reconsidered if you hadn't forced the issue. So what's the point of this apology? I'm trying to do the right thing, even if it's late. The right thing would have been treating me with respect from the beginning, trusting your daughter to make her own decisions, not trying to buy compliance. I know. But you didn't, and now your daughter and I aren't getting married. So congratulations, I guess. You got what you wanted. That's not what I wanted. I wanted her to be happy. She would have been, with me, if you'd stayed out of it. He looked down at his drink. Maybe you're right. I am right. And the worst part is, she let you do it. She chose your approval over our relationship. So even if I had gone through with the wedding, it never would have worked, because she'd always pick you over me when it mattered. She loves you. Not enough. Update 4. 3 months later, I heard through mutual friends that my ex-fiancée was dating someone new, someone from her parents' social circle, someone wealthy, someone they approved of. I wasn't surprised, just disappointed. I also heard that the guy was exactly the kind of person her parents wanted. Prestigious family, old money, connected, and completely under their thumb. Did whatever they wanted, made no waves. My ex was apparently happy. Or at least that's what she told people. I moved on too. Started dating someone I met through work. Nothing serious yet, but it was nice. Easy. She came from a normal family. No weird power dynamics or conditional approval. Just regular people who treated me like a human being. The whole experience taught me something important. Wealth doesn't make people better. Sometimes it makes them worse. It insulates them from consequences, makes them think they can control everything and everyone, and the people around them either push back or become complicit. I chose to push back. My ex chose to be complicit. And that's why we're not together. Final update. It's been a year now since the wedding that didn't happen. I'm doing well. The woman I was dating became my girlfriend, and we're talking about moving in together. Her parents invited me to dinner last month. It was normal, pleasant. No demands, no conditions, no expectations beyond basic politeness. My ex got engaged to that guy from her parents' social circle. I saw the announcement on social media. They looked happy in the photos. He looked exactly like what her parents wanted. Successful, connected, compliant. I heard from a mutual friend that her parents are very involved in their relationship, helping them pick out a house, planning the wedding down to every detail, making sure everything meets their standards. I don't feel vindicated, I just feel sad for her. She's living the life her parents chose, not the one she wanted. But maybe that's what she wanted all along. Maybe I never really knew her. As for the recording, I kept a copy, not to publish or use as leverage, just as a reminder that some people will try to control you if you let them. And sometimes the only way to maintain your dignity is to walk away. I'm 35 years old. I'm not married. I didn't marry into wealth or status or a family that expected me to compromise who I am, and I'm okay with that. Better than okay, actually, because I met someone who likes me exactly as I am. No changes required, no standards to meet, no compromises demanded, just two people choosing each other freely. That's worth more than any trust fund or family connection or conditional approval. My ex's mother expected compromises. I gave her one. I compromised my relationship rather than compromise myself. And looking back, it was the right choice.